We had drama in last night's series finale between the New York Mets and the Milwaukee Brewers as the wild card series came to an end. Now the MLB Division series are also both in the AL and the NL. We'll give you our predictions. Both the Cubs and the Sox have off-season plans. One team is trying to go up while the other team is stuck in neutral. In football, the Bears will try to make it 8 straight home wins as they'll face the Carolina Panthers on the lakefront on Sunday. Last night had high drama for Thursday Night Football. Did you watch? Did you watch? Did you watch? And it's the return of our girl, Miss Christine, the Queen Manika, with her weekly NFL picks. That and so much more as the hashtag Football Friday edition, first for the month of October, starts right now. Welcome to another hashtag Football Friday edition of Second City Sports. We're live in the living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago, along with Miss Lakina McGee, which is she. I am Cindy Brown. Hey, that's me. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter, X, and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, it's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You follow Makina McGee on the Twitter, X Akina McGee on the IG.
Be sure to download that Sports Zone Chicago app wherever you get your apps. Please follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, and YouTube. Please subscribe to our podcast. We're at War Media Podcast. That's WARR Media, PODCASTS. We are located on all podcast platforms, including the iHeartRadio app. And while you're at it, please give War Media a follow at WARR Media on all social media platforms. And thank you very much in advance for your support.
Like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends.
We're unapologetically fun, and we have very different opinions. If you have any definite opinion during our 2-hour extravaganza we call a Sports Talk Radio Show, you can always look us up and hit us up at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in those questions or comments in the comments section. Lakina will get them up on the screen for you. But if you decide to troll and or do something silly, dumb, or stupid, I've given Lakina full powers to give you fools the RIP to the late, great John Amos, a.k.a. James Amos Sr., the boot.
Well, I don't think he never said toodles, but, well, I can't really say what I want to say, but yeah, bye-bye.
But before we begin, we must mention Catch Sports on Chicago's programming live in live in color on Roku TV. But not now, because unfortunately we've been having issues with the Roku TV feed. But once it is settled and fixed and all that other good stuff that goes along with it, you can catch Sports Zone Chicago's Roku channel. If you already have a Roku TV, you know what it is by now. Just download that Sports Zone Chicago app. If you don't have a Roku television, but you have some handheld devices around, just go to the Google Play Store, download that Roku TV app, and access Sports Zone Chicago through that avenue. So no more excuses. Celebrate the squad and get with the program. Sports Zone Chicago is now available on Roku TV once the issues are fixed. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Live and on demand.
Anytime, anywhere. Hopefully, not too long to wait too long.
Once they get back, we will provide. Oh,
and we'll be providing you with some of the best. Oh God, I know we're all.
This is live, folks. This is live.
we're gonna keep it going here on Second City Sports. Of course, we got our girl Christine Manika from KXRB joining us. She's back after I think it feels like an eternity since we had her back on. I'm just trying to have thoughts on the last few uses of the Bears, WNBA playoffs. And there's so much more, of course. We'll preview Bears, Panthers, and the rest of the NFL Week 5 slate. Also, too, did you guys catch that Bucks Falcons game? Pretty thrilling game from start to finish for the most part last night, and so much more. But first, Sid, let's go to the Diamond and talk some baseball. The divisional series are set. We'll preview that. We'll probably have to preview that after the break, though, because we're probably not gonna have time. But we do want to finish up the wild card series. Probably the only game that actually went all three was the Mets and the Brewers. it was back and forth for a little bit. The Brewers came back, they took the lead, and of course it's Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso hit a clutch 3-run home run last night to win it, and of course they're going to be facing. We got two divisional rivals in the ALDS and NLDS. So we'll talk about that after the break.
Yeah.
But I remember I remind of our buddy Ryan Field from ABC7 in New York, and he actually posted something just like about 5 minutes prior to Alonso hitting that home run, because Alonso had been struggling the last few weeks, and he wasn't heard from much during the wild card series, and then of course, sure enough, as soon as he tweets that, he hits that monster 3-1 home run, and of course that sealed the bullpen sealed the win there. Edwin Diaz did so. Now they're back in the NLDS, and it was a pretty thrilling game. But as a Cubs fan, I'm not. Let's just say, well, I'm not going to try to be petty here, but hey, Brewers, come on, join us watch the rest of the playoffs, please. Join us. But I'll be the petty one. Yes, I am. So, but Sid, what do you think about that game? That great game 3 yesterday.
As you know, as a White Sox season ticket holder, I get the games, including the playoff games, for free, and you can listen to the radio call from each team. And a great job by Howie Rose of the now ESPN 880 AM, the new flagship station for the New York Mets. He did a great job last night. I forgot who his color commentator is. Please forgive me, but it was a great call he had on that Pete Alonso home run last night. It describes what the Mets season has been. Correct. April and May they struggled, but they started to come on toward the end of June. And of course, they ran roughshod throughout the rest of the regular season. We were on the air on Monday, Lakina, before they split that doubleheader with the Atlanta Braves. Of course, Francisco Lindor hits the game winner in the game 1 of the doubleheader to clinch the Mets into the playoffs. So, of course, last night you mentioned Pete Alonso, but this Mets team is really running on emotion, confidence, and fuel right now, because what they've been doing, overcoming so much obstacles, injuries to the pitching staff, the inconsistencies of Pete Alonso. And we mentioned last week on the show about the back injury to not to Pete Alonso, sorry, to Francisco Lindor. Yeah, it's been a remarkable run for the Mets. Now, like you said, we'll get into the previews of the division series following this timeout. But the Mets had great starting pitching, especially last night with Jose Quintana. He matched the starter for the Brewers pitch per pitch, and they got out of some jams, especially early in that game. Milwaukee, as we said, Lakina, I like the way they played there, the National League version of the Tampa Bay Rays, but when they needed the most in terms of getting men on base and getting them across home plate, they couldn't do. Now, I know they had the back-to-back home runs in the 7th inning last night, but when it was time for them to be aggressive, they weren't able to do it.
Yeah, and the bullpen, we said that when they got into the playoffs, that if that was one thing, one of the weaknesses for the Brewers was that bullpen, and unfortunately they weren't able to seal that win for the Brewers yesterday. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do during the offseason. They kind of came, I don't want to say they came out of nowhere, but they did, the kind of like, with the consistency and stuff, but they got to take that next step. So Brewers fans up there are probably going to be like, well, wait a second now. We got into the playoffs without, basically a bunch of, I don't want to say a bunch of no-name guys, but for the most part they are, and a new manager too. So once, that's over with, they kind of go to the crosswords there. Now going back to the Mets, we'll see what they can do, in the division series, because of course they're going to be facing the Phillies. So that's going to be an interesting series, no doubt. But again, we'll get to that after the break. But I think, the messy Mets, as I called them, now they're the miracle Mets, and then you want to talk about the messy Mets again. So, of course, it's a perfect timing that the Mets will probably make this an interesting playoff series, and that's exactly what they did. Now, I want to talk about the rest of the wild card series real quick before we go to break. I don't think anybody had this one coming, and I have to say I'm very disappointed in we'll talk about them in the off season, but I'm really disappointed in Baltimore. I really thought that they're going to use their experience to help them when their series against the Royals. That didn't happen. Bobby Witt Jr., of course, helped lead the way there. But yeah, exactly. So they helped lead the way for the Royals to upset the Orioles. So you got to give them credit.
Yeah, it was the starting pitching that did the Baltimore Orioles in, as we told you guys throughout the second half of the season. They made that trade for Eflin from former Tampa Bay Rays pitcher, and I'll give him credit. He did do the job in game 2, but that offense for Baltimore didn't come through when it needed. Shout out to Lugo, the starting pitcher from the Kansas City
Mhm.
that clinched it in game two. The Royals, they weren't magnificent offensively either, but they took advantage of the Orioles' mistakes and they capitalized on it. Now they're on to round two to face the Yankees. But someone brought up this question. I'll bring it up to you and our listeners and viewers on Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Does Brandon Hyde, the current manager of the Baltimore Orioles, deserve the boot?
That's a tough one because Cedric Mullins, where was he? Ali Rossman, where was
He
he?
had the only run the other day. I'm talking about Cedric Mullins. That was it.
That was all. But
Hmm.
you know, they sent Jimenez to the minors about a month, like a couple of weeks ago, and the pitching kind of just did him in. Like everyone else kind of went cold, and I like Hyde a lot, but I just don't think that maybe a new voice because it just seems like this is the second year in the row that the Orioles were kind of like just didn't know what to do when it got into the playoffs. They kind of just like it's like they kind of just deflated. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't want to say that because I don't. You don't want to see a manager lose a shot because he's a really good manager, but you wonder like something's got to give, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, another disappointing end to Baltimore's season.
I'm not going to say he deserves to get fired. I won't be surprised if it happened, but I think he's going to be on a short leash next year if they're thinking about making a change there. But they got some other issues in terms of free agents, i.e., Corbin Burns. Will he get that $300 million contract? I don't know if Baltimore is going to be up to pay him for that. He did have a nice year for them. He was acquired from Milwaukee prior to the season starting, but I'm not sure what Baltimore is going to do with that, but we'll see what happens as we get into all season down the road. Detroit Tigers, congratulations to them. They'll face Cleveland tomorrow. They swept the Houston Trastros, as our guy Sean Sierra would call them, in two straight games. They had a great comeback on Wednesday in game two. Tariq Skubal, their starting pitcher, was outstanding in game one. I don't know how the Tigers are doing it, Lakina. I told you I like their bullpen. It saved them on Wednesday. And once again, these Tigers have been on the road since early August, and they just keep on rolling.
Yeah, look, we thought that maybe this would be kind of the sort of like the thing that kind of derails that the role that the Tigers have been on. They've been able to keep it up. This is the first time I think in 10 years since they advanced to the main draw of the playoffs. So we'll see if AJ Hitch's guys keep it up. So it's going to be interesting though. That series we'll talk about that after the break. But yeah, that series is going to be very interesting coming up tomorrow. One of the other series we talked about. Atlanta and San Diego. Look, I commend Atlanta for getting into get into the playoffs. I mean, it was mostly because of the D backs. Just gonna get it
Mhm.
going. But with all the injuries and stuff like that, but that firepower for the Padres. The pitch has been really solid for them. They're really gonna need the hits to kind of like get it going there. I know everybody heard Lawrence. That's his adoptive team from Tachio Sox. I know that's his adoptive team. I know he was very excited, but it's gonna be interesting to see what they do in the next round against the Dodgers because look, they've had the Dodgers number, but you gotta think, the Dodgers will be able to kind of rest up. Hopefully their pitching can get going and but yeah, I mean the Padres is gonna be interesting because like are we gonna get the Padres team we've seen in recent weeks, or we're gonna get the Padres team we saw earlier this year where they just completely fell off?
Congrats to Michael King, the starter for the San Diego Padres. He had 12 strikeouts in game one. That was a very impressive performance. On the flip side for Atlanta, I know Chris Sale missed the series because of back spasms, I believe. If he would have
Mhm.
pitched one of those two games, maybe the projection of the series would have changed, but we'll never know. But San Diego, they have all systems will go offensively. Fernando Tatis Jr.'s home run in game one. That ball is still going, if you ask me. But they have all the firepower. They have a good enough bullpen. Their defense is above average. So it's going to be a challenge between them and the Dodgers. We'll dive into it, like you said, after the more to it after the break. But San Diego, this is the best that they've been playing over the last month and a half.
Well, and speaking of, we're going to take a really quick break. Of course, we'll talk about those divisional series, both in the AL and the NL, featuring in a lot of cases division rivals will be playing each other. So don't be surprised if some of these go seven. And also, of course, we'll week 6 of college football as well. Some great matches coming up tonight and tomorrow. So we've got a lot to talk about still. Second City Sports, Sports Chicago, Lakina McGee, Cindy Brown. More coming up right after this.
This year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school. These colorful binders help me stay organized.
These headphones are just what I need for studying.
These new sneakers are just what I need for the new year.
This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the skateboard I wanted. It's pretty cool. These scissors really come in handy in art class. These colored pencils, too.
These new socks, they can be a real lifesaver.
I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, but one of these days a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things. None of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you. Your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov, a public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Hey, this is Dr. J, and I listen to Sean and Maya in the morning.
Welcome back to the hashtag Football Friday edition of Second City Sports. We're live in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago. Miss Lakina McGee is she. Sydney Brown here is me. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter, X, and the IG at CK80. Once again, it's CK80. That's SIDKID80. SIDKID80.
You follow Makina McGee on the Twitter, X, and here's going again, the IG.
We have less than 85 minutes left of this extravaganza we call it Sports Talk Radio Show. If you have any questions or comments for us as we preview the MLB Division Series and preview Week 6 of college football, you can hit us up at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or at Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in those questions or comments to the comments section. Lakina will get the up on the screen for you.
All right, so let's get to those divisional matchups here. They start tomorrow. This series, of course, we told you that there are going to be a lot of these games are going to be featuring division rivals. And here's number one in the AL. You got Detroit and Cleveland. This series will be on TBS and True TV. It also streamed on Max. So, say, what do you think? I mean, Detroit and Cleveland split their series, especially as of late. So, what do you think? Can Detroit keep the magic going?
Can they keep it going? Of course they can. Will they? I don't think so. I know pitching beats great hitting, especially at this time of year, but Cleveland, they have the offensive power just a little bit more than the Tigers do. Don't get into that Tigers bull because if they do, the Guardians will be in trouble. So I think this this should be Cleveland no worse than 4 games or in a sweep. I don't think it's going to be a sweep by either team, but this could go 5 games. But I think Cleveland has the overall better talent, and I think they'll have enough pitching to get by Detroit's lack of offense. So I'm going with the Cleveland Guardians in 4.
Oh boy. I'll be nice and let the Guardians. I'll let the Tigers win one because I think they're going to give all they can handle. These are two division rivals. We'll see if the Tigers can keep the magic up. I think if the Tigers can kind of get set the pace early, then maybe they can give Cleveland all they can handle. But I'll give them till I'll give Guardians, but I'll say 6 because I think
Maybe it's
Tigers
the
will
best
win
3 out of 5.
Oh, 3 out of okay. So I'll say see they keep changing darn things on me. I'll say 4. I'll say 4 as well. I'll give them a gentleman's a sweep there for the Guardians. Number 2, this series will be on Fox. You got NL East rivals. You got the Mets and the Phillies, and of course Zach Wheeler will start Game 1 for the Phillies. He actually has the lowest WHIP in MLB postseason history by any pitcher with at least 10 starts at 73.73. So what a that's some he's definitely going to need that. The Phillies will they want to Mets, I don't know what you're gonna think. I mean, can they pull off something out of their rear like they did last night? I don't know about that. I think the Phillies they're just way too talented, kind of up and down. They can get Wheeler and that pitching going, and if Bryce Harper and Schwarber can get the hitting, and Nick Castellanos maybe he can just step up as well. I'll say Phillies in a sweep, but I would be surprised if the Mets do somehow win one because they're the Mets.
If you're Fox, if you're the higher suits up in MLB headquarters, you're happy because you get 2 big market teams going in the divisional round. The Mets bullpen, especially after last night, is spent, so I won't be surprised if they get their heads blown off, no pun intended, tomorrow. But I think things will settle down from there. I hope this series goes 5 games. It shouldn't, but I think it will, and I think the Philadelphia Phillies will move on and beat the Mets in 5.
Should be a fun series. Kansas City and the Yankees. Michael Waka against Garrett Cole. That's Game 1. This series will be on TBS and streamed on Max. I think if you're the Yankees, you had a little bit of rest. You got Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. You got them rested. Garrett Cole's well rested. I think if you want to set the tone early, don't give the Royals any shot to win. You want to kind of just blow them out of the water. I'll say Yankees in 3, but again, the caveat is I would be surprised if the Royals somehow sneak one in.
Before I give my prediction, let me ask you this question regarding the New York Yankees. Who has the most pressure on them this postseason? Aaron Judge,
Yep.
Juan Soto,
Yep.
or Giancarlo Stanton? Out of those 3, which one has the most pressure?
I would say Boone because I just think that yeah. I Soto already has a ring. I think he wants to just to currently pad his stats to get that cash. I think Judge because you remember last year. So I would say Judge probably has the most pressure. I think so. If you want to rank them, I think Judge has the most pressure. Soto probably has the least pressure. But I think out of all of them, but I think Aaron Boone probably has more pressure than any of them. So that's why I said Boone initially. That was intentional on my part.
Okay. I'll say Giancarlo Stanton because we already know that Aaron Judge is going to get most of the attention. That's obvious. Like you said, Juan Soto has the ring, but I'm not worried about here. Here's why I'm worried about Giancarlo Stanton. You know that Judge is going to be treated like Barry Bonds. He's going to get walked a bunch of times. Juan Soto probably the same thing. Can Giancarlo Stanton deliver in those big moments when those 2 guys are on? If he can, I think the Yankees are damn near unbeatable offensively. We've been saying that all year. If he could deliver in those moments, especially with that tough Kansas City pitching staff, I think the Yankees could take it. Definitely take it to the next round, but they could definitely take this team to the World Series. So, and the Yankees, they got to step it up outside of Garrett Cole and starting pitching. I know Marcus Stroman's been struggling. I know Carlos Rodon has had an above average year, a bounce back year. We'll see what they do with Nestor Cortez. He's been struggling until late coming out. I'm assuming he's coming out of the bullpen for this playoff run. So I'm going with the Yankees here. I'll give the Royals 1 win, and they'll probably be in Kansas City. But the Yankees are a much better team.
Well, I think the pitching is really what's going to keep Kansas City in it. That's why I say I would be surprised they do get one. But I think if you're the Yankees, all those guys you mentioned have to step up if they want to go into the LCS, and we'll see what happens there. Probably one of the you wonder why this one isn't in on Fox, but I guess I guess we are Sophie's choice here. You got the Padres and the Dodgers. Both these teams know each other very well. It's going to be interesting to see what how all this goes. We know Shohei Ohtani. He's probably going to get walked a lot as well. And I think guys like Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and I think those guys got to step up too. The guys step up in the pitching as well. The Padres, look, we've seen the Padres. We've seen all the great hitting that they've been they've had, especially in that series against Atlanta. But I don't know. I'm kind of I don't know what to think about the Padres. I mean, just when you thought that maybe they can take that next step, they just deflate in the end. So I don't know. So I think this will go 5, and I will pick the Dodgers. But this is one of those series where it's really literally a toss up.
It's definitely going to come down to starting pitching because outside of Michael King, as I talked about in our last segment, he struck out 12 in the Game 1 win over Atlanta. Dylan Cease, I know this has been 3 years in the making out him being back in the playoffs. He was a totally different pitcher when he was with the White Sox facing the Astros. He's going to be your Game 1 starter tomorrow. He needs to step up. But on the flip side for the Dodgers, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who was having a great year, the rookie starting pitcher from Japan before he got hurt. I know they've been easing him back into to the fold these last few starts here in the last month of the season. He's going to give it a go for the Dodgers. Unless he's pitching a no-hitter, even then, you assume he's going to pitch at least 4, if not 5 innings to make sure that whatever's going on with him is okay. But remember the Dodgers outside of Jack Flaherty, who they acquired at the trade deadline. Gavin Stone, Tyler Glass now, Clayton Kershaw. I don't know if he's going to be available for this postseason. You mentioned Freddie Freeman. He got hurt toward the end of the regular season. I know he may be back in the lineup for the start of tomorrow's game. But the Dodgers starting pitching is their Achilles heel right now. Now, their bullpen is solid. It looks like they have some issues right now. Looks like Michael Kopech, the former White Sox pitcher, is going to play a pivotal role. Even he may close 1 or 2 games. It depends on the situation. So San Diego has the edge on the Dodgers, not just what they did in the regular season, but what they did 2 years ago in the playoffs, eliminating the Dodgers in 4. This is a totally different Dodgers team now. I think the Dodgers have enough to survive the slight hiccups within the inconsistencies in that starting rotation. I'm with you. This will go 5. I'm going with the Dodgers.
All right, so those 4 games will be on tomorrow. On Sunday, it'll just be the NL. You've got, of course, Game 2 of Mets Phillies. That's going to be on FS1. Both of these games are actually going to be on FS1 because of course, football commitments over at Fox. San Diego and Los Angeles, they'll also be on FS1 as well. A doubleheader there. The Mets Phillies game started at 3. While the Padres Dodgers Game 2 will start at 7. So both those games are tomorrow on FS1.
All right, you're listening to Second City Sports on Sports Zone Chicago. Sid Lakina here with you. As now we transition to week 6 of the Piss game we call college football. 2 games on tap tonight as we go into top 25 action. Michigan State will travel to the Pacific Northwest to face the number 6 ranked Oregon Ducks. That's at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Fox. And at the same time on FS1, 3-1 Syracuse will travel to Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada to take on the 25th ranked UNLV Running Rebels. They are checking in at 4-0.
Should be a great game between those 2 squads. I don't think anybody had either one of these teams where they are this early this season. I don't even think this game was going to be televised. So, this is actually a nice showcase game for both Syracuse and UNLV. So we'll see. You know about UNLV and all the stuff going on off the field. There were some of their players, opting the red shirt and whatever. But they've been able to kind of keep it going there. Also, State of Syracuse, first-year head coach Brown got his guys at 3-1, so should be a good matchup there. Oregon and Michigan State. Usually, this is like a Rose Bowl kind of matchup, but unfortunately, this is a Big Ten matchup. Welcome to college sports in 2022, kids. But yeah, going into Saturday tomorrow, the big noon Saturday game will be at Happy Valley. It will feature the UCLA Bruins and the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Penn State and Illinois. So, sorry, my computer froze up. Yeah, Penn State, we saw what they did against Illinois last Saturday night, beating the Fighting Illini by 2 touchdowns. They're 4-0. UCLA, they lost an ugly game last week. I don't see UCLA putting up a big fight here. It's a 9 a.m. Start time for them, even though there will be on the East Coast. So I'm talking about UCLA. Penn State, as we talked about, they're one of the top 3 to 5 teams in the country. I know they favored by 28.5, but from what I saw last week, Penn State is that team. So I'm going with Penn State big here.
No, I'll see a letdown game for Penn State here. So yeah, as you said, they have the UCLA having to play at that's like 9 a.m. on their body clock. So this should be a big test for them now. Interesting game in the SEC. You got the Fighting Mike Berman's number 9 Missouri Tigers. If you ABC Chicago, we got to get him back on soon. They face Texas A&M down there at Kyle Field in College Station. That's going to be on ABC and also on ESPN Plus. Should be a good one. Mizzou was off this week, so they were kind of able to heal up and get some of their guys back. Should be a good one down there in College Station.
Tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on the CBS Sports Network, Massachusetts will travel to DeKalb, Illinois to face the Northern Illinois Huskies. Lakina, the Huskies, coming off that bad loss, tough loss last week on the road to NC State. 2 weeks ago, they lost a tough one in overtime at home to Buffalo. I think this is a get-right game for those guys. Coach Hammock up there. I'm going with Northern on this one.
Yeah, I forgot. I keep forgetting UMass has a football team, so
I know, right?
I'm like, what? Okay, I guess so. Yeah, so it should be they were off this week, so hopefully they can kind of get. Well, they had that tough loss against North Carolina State coming off the bye, so hopefully they can kind of get back on track. Here, Pittsburgh coming off a bye, they face North Carolina. Speaking of NC State, they face they host, I should say, Wake Forest. That's going to be on the CW network. CBS and Paramount Plus. This is the battle of the service academies. Both these teams are actually playing very well. You got Navy is 4-0. They face Air Force Academy, who are 1-3. That nice little showcase game for them at 11 a.m. on CBS, and also streaming on Paramount Plus. Those of you guys overseas, to go through some of the other games here. We go into the afternoon games. In the next game, that doubleheader on CBS and Paramount Plus at 2:30, you got Iowa and Ohio State down there in Columbus, and this should be an interesting game. I know Iowa, they're off a bye, so we'll see. But I think Ohio State is just going to have too much firepower for them.
Yeah, their star quarterback Will Howard is having a good year so far for the Buckeyes. 8 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, along with that star wide receiver Jeremiah Smith, I should say. 19 catches, 364 yards, and 5 touchdowns. But can Iowa put up points against that tough Buckeyes defense consistently? I'm not sure, but they're going to have to rely on Caleb Johnson, who has 685 total rushing yards this year and 9 rushing touchdowns.
Well, and it's interesting that Ohio State's kind of quietly undefeated. No one's really noticing them, and I think Ryan Day probably likes it that way. No one's really noticing them, so they're just like strolling along here. Oh, okay, we got Iowa. Okay, cool. We'll go. Let's play the game tomorrow. Now, at the same time on ABC, Auburn coming off a tough loss to Oklahoma as they face Georgia, coming off a tough loss at Alabama. I think this might be a good get-right game for Kirby Smart and his guys. They can kind of reshift and refocus, and Bulldogs are nice and cute and friendly, but you don't want to piss them off. So they might not be in a very good mood tomorrow.
Yeah, Georgia lost a tough game at Alabama last Saturday night. Auburn, we know about their struggles. They're 0-2 in the SEC. But I'm with you, Lakina. It's at home in Athens, Georgia, at Sanford Stadium. Georgia's going to get it back. I have no doubt about that. And they're favored by 22 points. So Carson Beck, he put up a heroic performance in that second half there. I expect him to have a better performance, so I'm going with Georgia. They'll blow the gates off of the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, there might be a little. Yeah, I think they might not be in a good mood as I said a minute ago. Sticking the SEC, Ole Miss coming off a tough loss to Kentucky. They face South Carolina. They kind of had a week to stew over that loss to LSU, so. That's going to be on ESPN at 2:30. South Carolina should be interesting. I think their quarterback, is going to be back. And we got a little bit banged up in that LSU game. So, Ole Miss kind of got exposed a little bit. So I'm thinking that maybe Shane Beamer will have his South Carolina guys ready, and I'm picking an upset down there in Columbia.
Interesting. Yeah. Ole Miss is favored by 9 at South Carolina. So I guess Vegas agrees with you, even though they have Ole Miss as the favorite. At the same time, on BTN, the Big Ten Network, for those of you scoring at home, the Northwestern Wildcats, they're 2-2. They're playing at the Lake. They'll host number 23 Indiana. The Hoosiers are checking in at 5-0, 2-0 in Big Ten play. This is their best start in years for that school. And IU is favored by 14 points on the road. Their star quarterback, Curtis Roke, he has 11 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Also, to their star running back, Justice Ellison, 5 rushing touchdowns on the year. And the sub wide receiver, Elijah Sarrett, 22 catches, 378 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think this is Indiana's like they best started. I don't even think their coach was born yet. That's probably how long ago it was since they've had a 5-0.
Yeah, I told you in years.
yeah. I mean, I think it was like in 1970. I think 70 something. I think was the last time they started 5-0. And I don't, like I said, I don't even know. But they've been kind of again quietly. They're back in the top 25 for the first time. I think about like 5 or 6 years. They've been there. Kirk Cignetti, he's done a great job. I don't even think he was. Like I said, I don't think he was born yet the last time they were 5-0. I think he made a joke about that last week. But I mean, look, it's going to be beautiful. That lakefront. We saw some of the games this year. We'll see if maybe that it's going to be pretty warm. It's going to be near 80 tomorrow. So I'm wondering, weather might not. It might be a factor, it might not. But I think Indiana wants to kind of keep it going there. Northwestern, I don't know what to think about the Northwestern squad. So we'll see. But I don't know. I mean, do you think they could pull off the upset? Maybe, but again, we'll see.
Yeah, Northwestern's got to be more disciplined. They got to be more consistent on offense. I don't know if they could do that. Maybe them being at home might help, but Indiana is just too strong of a team. The Northwestern may keep it close for a while, but I don't see them doing it. Crazy things have happened, but I'm not convinced it's going to happen for Northwestern tomorrow.
They got a lot of veterans on the Indiana squad, so they're pretty disciplined. So we'll see what they do down there in the lakefront tomorrow. 3:00, Nebraska hosts Rutgers. That should be a fun one in the Big Ten. West Virginia and Oklahoma State. It's going to be on ESPN2 at the same time. Alabama and Vandy. There's no way they'll Vanderbilt. There's no way they'll beat Vanderbilt. They'll lose to Vanderbilt. I mean, no way. Okay.
You hitting at something like you know something that we don't know?
No, I don't know nothing. But we look at things happening down there in Nashville. So first base here is gonna be rocking. So definitely look out there. It's gonna be at 3:15 on SEC Network, I should say. The CW Network. You got Colorado State and Oregon State, Clemson and Florida State on ESPN. Florida State, I don't know.
I think you can kiss their college football playoff dreams goodbye.
Yeah, I just don't see them. And I think Dabo's got his guys, back on track again. So we'll see what happens. Boise State, they host Utah State. That's going to be on FS2 at 6 as we're going into the late night games. And of course on ABC at 6:30 got number 4 Tennessee at Arkansas, and Josh Heupel has done a great job with that Tennessee program. They're very I kind of like how they play, and their defense has been really good too. I mean could I see Arkansas keeping it close? I mean, sure, they're 3-2. They got a tough loss against A&M last couple of weeks ago, I should say. But I think Imaliva has done a great job. I think he's putting up real solid Heisman numbers. It's really been their running back Simpson. He's been really solid. Dylan Sampson, I should say. So he's been really good too for the Vols. So I don't see them losing to Arkansas, but then look, we've seen weirder things happen in the SEC.
Oh, Vegas agrees with you. Tennessee's a 13.5-point favorite on the road. For Arkansas to have a chance of pulling off an upset at home, Jaquindon Jackson has to have a monster game. He has 9 rushing touchdowns on the year for the Razorbacks. And their quarterback, Taylor Green, 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions is not going to get it done. He's going to have almost a superhero-type performance.
But, I don't. But we'll see again. I don't see it, but we'll see. All right, next game. This will be on NBC at the same time, also streamed on Peacock. Usually, this is for the Rose Bowl. This is during the Rose Bowl, but of course, again, this is 2024. This is a Big Ten matchup. We got Michigan and Washington. up there in Husky
Here comes
City.
Saturday night. Sorry.
It's been years since I think Michigan has played Washington up there in Seattle. But they're 4-1. They're already 2-0 in Big Ten play, and I'm kind of thinking that maybe Sharon Wright has his guys kind of like going here. Look, I think for the most part it's mostly like new names, but look, they still got it. They're still keeping it going, and we'll see. But Washington, like I said, that place will be rocking up there at Husky Stadium, so it should be a fun matchup though, even still.
Well, Vegas agrees with you there. Washington's a 1.5 favorite, so it's a pick 'em right here. Michigan, I think they obviously got to come through Khalil Mullins, their big running back, 6 rushing touchdowns on the year. On the flip side, for the Huskies, Will Rogers has done a phenomenal job all year. 10 passing touchdowns, no interceptions. And their star wide receiver, Denzel Boston, 30 catches, 412 yards, and 7 receiving touchdowns.
Should be an entertaining one up there in Seattle. Going to the Twin Cities in Minnesota at the same time on BTN. You got USC, number 11 USC against Minnesota. You think your buddy PJ Fleck can pull off the upset?
I don't know, but they're at home, so that gives them a fighting chance. But what I'm worried about for Minnesota, yeah, they almost had that great comeback at Michigan last week. If it wasn't for that dumb penalty on that recover, they recovered the kick, but it was a false start on that onside kick. And plus, they had a bad start to that game last week at the Big House. But they got to put pressure on Miller Moss. You saw what he's been doing all year. 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I'm just worried about that Golden Gophers defense, Lakina. If they can put consistent pressure on Miller Moss, they definitely have a great chance of winning this game. But I don't know if they can do that. That's just me.
It makes me is going to be rocking up there tomorrow, so it should be a fun matchup. Iowa State, they host Baylor, a Big 12 matchup on Fox at the same time at 6:30. Also, the True TV game of the week, also streaming on Max. You got Nevada and San Jose State. UCF coming off the tough loss against Colorado. They face Florida. That's going to be on 6:45 on SEC Network. Duke, they're undefeated. They face Georgia on the ACC Network. That should be a good one. Kansas and Arizona State on ESPN2. That's a Big 12 matchup, folks. Hawaii. Well, look, if you're a Hawaii fan, you get to actually show them playing in the mainland. They face San Diego State. That's going to be on CBS Sports Network at 7 o'clock. Probably one of the game of the week here at 9:30 on ESPN. You've got number 9 Miami against Cal. Game day is going to be there. You got Beast Bowl.
7 o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock in the morning. West Coast time. So they're going to be waiting all damn day for that game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long wait for the fans.
Ooh, boy.
And of course, Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch will be as a guest picker. That should be entertaining. Him and Coach Saban and Coach Corso. That should be and Pat McAfee too. That should be an interesting segment there on that set. But 5-0 Miami. They literally had to get a prayer not answered for Virginia Tech last week, but they're still undefeated. They face a Cal team that's 3-1. Very solid team. Fernando Mendoza, probably one of one of the better quarterbacks because you guys probably don't know too much about. Of course, we know about Cam Ward and his great stats as well. So this should be an interesting game over there in Berkeley.
I think it's going to be a little bit closer than what people think. Vegas has Miami at a 10-point spread. I think Miami is going to get this one, but I think they'll win between 6 to 7 points.
Going to be interesting to see, like Nyzia Hunter for Cal's one of the best wide receivers in the country. So that's going to be a tough for that secondary for the Canes. They can slow him down there, make him work for it, make him go on the ground. Maybe that could help him a little bit. But it should be interesting that game. But like you said, so those folks over there are going to have to wait the whole freaking day for the game. So it's going to be a long wait, but I'm sure hopefully it'll be worth it. That's going to be on ESPN. And the late Fox game in the Big 12. Texas Tech and Arizona. See, it's weird with all this conference realignment. I know they had Big Ten Media Day down there in Minneapolis for the hoops. It's still weird seeing USC and UCLA, and then you got Arizona in the Big 12. Of course, USC, UCLA and Washington, Oregon in the Big. It's in the Big 10. So it's still a little weird. I'm not gonna lie, it's still weird. Sorry, folks, it's still kind of weird.
Yeah, real quickly, Key. I know Illinois and Colorado they're not playing this week, but college basketball, real quick. Gonzaga, they're going to the Pac-12.
Yep, I saw that. I mean, I guess they're trying to rebuild the Pac-12, and I think I saw a few other teams, but yeah, I think they again, depending on how it's set up, I think they could do well in the Pac-12. I'm sure it's gonna. They're the only one that doesn't have a football team, so you gotta think they're gonna be off. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting how they do in the Pac-12. They'll be facing a tougher schedule, I'm sure. So we'll see where Mark Few, assuming that he doesn't retire after this season.
Right.
Because there is some rumors about that, but we'll see. We'll see.
Like I said, maybe they'll get a little bit more funding in terms of NIL than being in a bigger conference than the I forgot the conference they were in before.
West Coast Conference.
West Coast Conference. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. So if that's the case, then like I said, he'll stick around for a couple more years. But if not, then like you said, maybe after this season, who knows what happens.
Gonna be interesting up there in Spokane and what happens. But listen, we'll talk college football. We got college hoops. I mean, we got about a month. They'll play till like in about a month from now. So we'll talk about that at a later time. But yeah, more conference musical chairs, as I call it. Around and around we go. It is definitely a circus. So
yes,
hour number one in the books. Hour number 2 straight ahead. This is Second City Sports on Sports Chicago. Keita McGee, Cindy Brown with you. We kick off our NFL Power Hour as we'll preview Bears Panthers. There's no way Bears can lose because the Panthers can they? And we recap a great NFC South game that you guys got a chance. Hopefully, some of you guys got a chance to watch yesterday on Amazon. A great finish there. Also, our girl Christine Mack from KXRB, she's back, of course, with our NFL Week 6 pick'ems and so much. Well, yeah, Week 5 pick'ems. I should say, I'm ahead of myself there. Week 5 pick'ems and so much more. The Keita McGee, Cindy Brown again, Second City Sports on Sports of Chicago. Going to the NFL coming up right after this.
No, I don't know though. I'm scared. I mean, you're
Do you know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
Hi, I'm Tom Brady, the director of DODEA. September is National Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. The simple act of reaching out and caring for those in our communities is something we all can do. Just being there for someone you care about can be a tremendous first step in getting them access to confidential resources and support that they need. It only takes one person and one small act and 1 minute to make a difference. Let's make a difference.
Move it!
Many will hear the calling. Few will earn the title. United States Marine. The few, the proud, the Marines.
first 1,000-yard season last year. Pressure coming on Williams, and he goes to Swift. And he sets up third down inch. Screen, Williams, nice catch. He's got some ground to make up. Johnson grabbed him, and Brisker drilled him. Kramer's in there.
Kramer's back.
Roschon Johnson, first down, a big one. 92 yards away from tying the game with 63 seconds and no timeouts. Stafford unloads, hit as he throws. Ball game. Brisker, Bears win.
And that highlight was courtesy of Fox Sports, Fox Chicago. Of course, you were listening to Second City Sports. Sports Chicago, Keenan McGee, City Brown with you. Welcome to hour number 2 in our NFL Power Hour. You can follow my Keenan McGee on the Twitter, X, and again, IG.
You can follow yours truly, City Brown, on the Twitter, X, and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, it's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80. Now, since we're going to preview the NFL matchup in Week 5 between the Chicago Bears and the Carolina Panthers on the Lakefront on Sunday, if you have any thoughts and predictions for the game, you can hit us up at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or at Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in those questions or comments to the comment section. Lakina will get the bubble on the screen for you.
All right, let's talk about this Panthers team here, Sid. I know Andy Dalton has done a very formidable job the last couple of weeks, kind of keeping everything on the road there for Carolina. They've actually been in. I know that they won this first game he started, but they were right there last week. But again, talent, I guess they were kind of outclassed by Cincinnati. Even though they did keep it close for a little bit, they did beat Vegas pre-handed a couple weeks prior. I mean, Dalton, you want to joke and say it's probably a revenge game for Andy Dalton, but it's gonna be interesting to see what happens there. But I think you can kind of look Deontay Johnson if he's like the one, well, I guess you say Chuba Hubbard as well, but this guy from Toledo, this could be somebody. He's a veteran. He's actually one of the top receivers. He's their leading receiver. It's going to be interesting, though, because I think once he gets it going, I think it's going to be hard. We'll see how Jalen Johnson or Jaquan Brisker does in front there. Chuba Hubbard, if the Panthers do have a legit shot to win this game, I would say keep feeding them the ball because the run defense for the Bears is still a little lackluster. So if you want to take advantage of that, I would say go right ahead and do that. As far as their defense, I think that they lost like Shaq Thompson is one of the first, one of the more decent defensive players that they have. They lost him to an Achilles. So, just even Clowney, he's still around, but he's kind of a shell of himself for because he's getting older. J.C. Horn, a corner. He's been okay, but again, there's no way, Sid. I think they're like near the bottom in rush defense. So I would say give DeAndre Swift the ball and just let him go to town. But we know with the Bears, weird things can happen. So I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going to happen in this game.
I like the way the Bears got out to the start in terms of the play calling last week against the Rams. And we talked about it on the show on Monday, this past Monday. They evolved to run a whole lot more than they did the previous week, 2 weeks of the season so far. But before we get into the deep dive of the preview, take a look at some of the numbers from both these teams. These are rankings through the first 4 weeks of the season. Offense, the Carolina Panthers 23rd, the Bears 3rd worst in the NFL. That's number 30 for those of you scoring at home. Defense, Bears number 10, Carolina 26th. Passing, Carolina 24th, Bears 26th. And of course, rushing, Carolina 20th and the Bears 29th. Now, we mentioned the Bears got back on track last week running the football thanks to the usage of Roschon Johnson and DeAndre Swift. And I think the Bears will do a better job of running the football this week. But here's the thing, Lakina. The Bears need to get off to a good start in terms of scoring. Get you a quick 7, quick 10, and let that defense hunt. I think that this is a great opportunity for the Bears to put up between 27 and 30 points. I think this Bears team could do that. Caleb Williams, I'm not saying the game is slowing down for him completely just yet, but you're starting to see signs. I want to see Bears offensive coordinator Shane Waldron used Cole Kmet a little bit more. I didn't see him do that much last week, unlike 2 weeks ago at the Colts. Also, too, the connection between Caleb Williams and Roma Duse is apparent now. And I want to see Caleb Williams starting to get more of Rome hitting him in stride within the offense. I like to see that. I like to see Keenan Allen healthy, Lakina. I think that's the main thing. Hopefully, we'll see that this Sunday. So I just want to see the Bears offensively get off to a quick start, go up on these guys 10-0, 14-0, 14-3, somewhere along those lines, to let that defense hunt. Because if you give a young team like Carolina confidence, let them hang around just like the Rams did in that first half, they think they can win. And let's be honest here, Carolina doesn't have anything to play for. Everybody expects them to get blown out in this game. So, like you said, weird things can happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be the key if you're the Bears. I think that will make, I think all Bears fans feel better if they can, get a quick start early, get a score in your opening drive. Don't struggle against a defense that you should be able to score on and pretty frequently. But, we see how the Bears are when it comes to playing teams that they're supposed to be. We saw in that game against Indianapolis. I'm not going to say this is going to mirror that game against Indy, where you thought that maybe they could score a lot against a defense that they should have scored a lot at. That didn't happen. They got a veteran quarterback in, with Joe Flack. With Anthony Richardson, of course, but, they still stayed in it. But let's face it, if Flacco was there, that game would have been blown out of the water. That they would have won by 2 scores. How about the coach? So in this case here, you better hope it doesn't get to that. You should be able to beat this team. You should be able to score on this team. And like you said, they got to set the tone early. Try to score your opening drive, even if it's just a field goal. Get those points early. Put the Panthers away early on. Don't give them the confidence, like you said, Sid, and just try to get out of there with the win before you go to London to face Jacksonville. And could they do it? Sure. Will they? It's the Bears. So who the heck knows? I should say. Excuse my language, kids.
You listen to Second City Sports on Chicago City. Lakini here with you, previewing Bears Panthers. And the game will be at high noon on Sunday at the lakefront. The game can be seen on Fox. Kenny Albert, Megan O'Leary, and Jonathan Vilma will have the call for you guys there. I want to go back to the Carolina Panthers. Lakina, you mentioned Andy Dalton. This is a quote-unquote revenge game. And you mentioned Chuba Hubbard, their running back, who's having a nice year so far running the football. 55 carries, 296 yards, and a touchdown. But you talked about Deontay Johnson, the former Pittsburgh Steeler. But I want to focus in on the other target, Xavier Legette. He had a good game last week against the Cincinnati Bengals. He had close to 70 receiving yards. Now, this kid's been coming on the last couple of weeks. He wears jersey number 17 for the Panthers. And I think that Deontay Johnson will be matched up against Jalen Johnson. But if Tyreek Stevenson draws the assignment of guarding Xavier Legette, this is going to be a tougher challenge than what people going to give credit for.
He's probably one of the stronger rookies out there. I remember seeing him at South Carolina. I think he was all SEC or second team all SEC in receiving. He was one of the better wide receivers in that second tier group in the country last season. So I think he could definitely give whoever it is, whether it's Brisker or Jalen Johnson, some fits. And I think that if you slow him down, I think you may have, and if you give him the ball a lot. I mean, if Dalton doesn't throw any interceptions and gets Mr. Legette the ball, he could definitely keep the Panthers in this game. So I think if you're the Bears, you don't want to try to neutralize him early. But then, of course, you got a veteran like Deontay Johnson, who will love to have his best game in a few years. And we'll see. That's why I said this is probably good. This is a trap game for the Bears. I know people say, "Oh, this is winnable. This is winnable." There's no such thing as winnable games in the NFL. We've seen weirder things happen. So I think for me, that's going to be the key here. If you're the Panthers, you want to try to get him on as soon as possible. But if you're the Bears, you want to try to slow him down if you're the defense. So that's going to be the true test for the Bears, I think, in this with this Panthers offense.
You have any comments and/or prediction on the Bears game on Sunday? What are your predictions? Hit us up at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or Sports Zone Chicago YouTube. Type in those questions or comments in the comments section. Lakina will get them up on the screen for you. If you're watching us via the replay, drop us a comment and smash that like button and let us know how you're liking the program. Lakina, I want to ask you, what do you expect from Caleb Williams? 2 weeks ago, he threw for 353 yards and on 52 passing attempts. Those numbers were literally cut in half last week. Do you expect what happened last week, or do you expect something in between against this shaky Carolina defense at best?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of weird, right? I mean, you thought that maybe he would do this again, a mirror image of that game against Indianapolis. You thought that maybe this was going to be a breakout game for him, but it ended up not being the case. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here in this game. I mean, I think if you want to, as long as he can avoid the blitz. I mean, like I said, this is not, this is not like Luke Kuechly and the rest of that group for the Panthers a few years ago. So that you're not facing that defense. So it's going to be interesting to see if you can try to kind of get this get it going, and perhaps maybe this could be a good way to kind of his breakthrough game, if you will. But again, you never know. I mean, luckily he hasn't had those good or bad games yet. He's actually been pretty consistent for the most part. So hopefully maybe we can keep that consistency going. He's getting more confident now. He's passing the ball quick, with a quick release. So hopefully he can keep that going against the defense where he should be able to do well against. But again, we've seen weird things happen in football. So hopefully, look, like I said, hopefully, he can kind of get this will be his breakout game.
Yeah, like I said, I'm putting the pressure on Bears offensive coordinator Shane Waldron. I thought he called a good game to an extent last week, mixing more of the run with the pass, and I'm looking for DeAndre Swift to have a big game again. As I said before, for these last few weeks, if the Bears get off the bus running early, it takes the pressure off of Caleb. Caleb can relax, play his game. He's starting to see the field now. He's not there where he wants to be yet. He'll be the first one to tell you. But if the Bears can beat the Panthers at a point of attack, dominate them at the line in the trenches, I think the offense is going to open up that much more for this Bears team. Cole Kmet hopefully can have a big game. Hopefully Romadusa can have a big game. If Keenan Allen is out there, hopefully he can have a couple of catches or two. So this on paper, like we said, on paper looks good for the Bears, but they just got to go out there and do the job and set the tone early.
It's all about the execution, I think. That's going to be the key. Sometimes they did roll against the Rams, but other times they haven't been able to do that. So we'll see what happens there. As I can see sports on Sports of Chicago, Lakina McGee, Cindy Brown with you, going to our NFL Power Hour. Let's go into the rest of the league, Sid. Of course, first we'll recap a very entertaining NFC South game last night. And it was back and forth between the Falcons and the Bucks. Oh, well, the Bucks and the Falcons down there. They honored Matt Ryan in their Ring of Honor. He was in the press box, Mr. Arthur Blank, and it was actually really cool to see. Ludacris was there as well. I think he does go to.
He didn't have that costume on, did he? Like he did a month ago.
No.
Okay.
No. He didn't have that on. Thank goodness. But no, he didn't. But they were doing, kind of like if he. I wish there was video of this because I know Kirk Herbstreit said that Al Michaels was doing with the that was one of Ludacris's biggest hits. Of course, I want to see. I would actually see video of that, but yeah, the Falcons. It was back and forth for the Bucks and the Falcons. The Falcons made a big stop to prevent the Bucks from hitting another field goal that would have forced them to get a touchdown to perhaps win the game. Instead, Key Kwai Ko, who actually missed an early field goal, but he did make the field goal when it counted, and that forced the game going into overtime. Of course, the Falcons got the ball first, and Kadero Hodge, a seventh-round journeyman, he came in, caught the game-winning TD pass from Kirk Cousins. And of course, they go 2-2 and a 3-2. Of course, the Bucks fall to 3-2 as well. And a very entertaining game last night down there in Atlanta.
Yeah, I saw a couple of clips for this game. After I watched the baseball game, Tampa Bay only 6 points in the second half. That's inexcusable. Still, they had their chances to put this game away. They didn't do it. Credit the Atlanta Falcons. They lost a close one at home a couple of weeks ago to the Kansas City Chiefs. This team should be 4-1 instead of 3-2 right now, but that's a whole nother story. Kirk Cousins, we always give him grief for not delivering in prime time. Well, he did last night. As you mentioned, 509 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. Drake London had his best game in a while. 12 catches, 154 yards in the touchdown. So, and Ray McLeod had a couple of big catches late in that game as well. So, we see the potential in the Atlanta Falcons. I know the New Orleans Saints will have something to say about it in terms of the NFC South Division title, but if Atlanta can play like this on a consistent basis, I think they'll be in it for the long haul. But they just got to be more consistent. Their defense is not too bad. Jeremy Bates, one of their safeties back there, he heads up there the Falcons secondary. He's very good, but offensively, it starts and ends with Kirk Cousins. If he can set that tone, to be consistent, the rest will fall into place, and they got to feed Bijan Robinson a little bit more as well.
Well, that defense for the Falcons, I mean, AJ Terrell had a couple big tackles. I think he was the one that had that tackle that kept the Bucks from out of field goal range. So that was a big thing there. Also, too, they got, remember Matthew Judon's down there now as well. So you got he's already paid dividends for the Falcons there. So we're just seeing the NFC South. I mean, and I know they've had some injuries, of course, with the Saints. It looks like Taysom Hill, I think he might be done for a while because he has fractured ribs. That's brutal. But it'll be interesting. Like everyone thought that this division was a laughing stock last year. People thought that it was going to be the worst division of football. With the exception of the Panthers, it's actually been pretty good. So all three, the three teams, the Saints, the Bucks, and the Falcons, they're all right there. So it's going to be interesting to see like how, as the season goes, how the division will pan out. The good news is that they do play again. So, and I know the Bucks are probably kicking themselves because they had their shots to put this giveaway and they weren't able to do it. So, but it was a very entertaining game last night on Thursday Night Football down there in Atlanta. Now, they're going through some of the matches as our girl Christy Manika for KXRB's return, I guess, as we say here, the return. So yeah, I mean, what matches? Well, actually, you know what? We have our first of our bye. We saw. Let me get that out the way. Lions, Chargers, Eagles, and Titans. So adjust your fantasy teams accordingly. And what matches are you looking forward to this week, Sid, in week 5?
Oh, the first of the London games, 8:30 a.m. on Sunday on NFL Network. The 4-0 Vikings, it's a home game for them, even though it's overseas. They'll host the 2-2 New York Jets. I think this is a pivotal game for the New York Jets as far as them one to make a push for the playoffs. So of course, they laid a big fat turd last week against the Denver Broncos. The Vikings, I'll be honest, I didn't expect them to win the way they did last week at Lambeau against Green Bay, even though Jordan Love did return for the green and gold. Breece Hall better be fed a lot, Lakina. I'll just say that. Breece Hall better be fed a lot. Forget the fact that he's on my fantasy team, okay? But the Jets got to run the ball better with some consistency. And whether they give up Devontae Adams via trade or not, regardless, Aaron Rodgers and the rest of the offense has to play better. But it starts with feeding Breece Hall the rock. I'll say something about that because the Minnesota Vikings defense, we know that's going to come after Rodgers. So the way you take pressure off of that, run the football.
Should be a fun matchup over there in London. One of the new games, I'll say this with the AFC North. I know the Bengals got their first win against the Panthers. The Ravens, they've won 2 in a row. So hopefully maybe they're starting to kind of figure things out among the offense especially and the defense as well. So it should be a good matchup. I'll be watching this game via this computer screen. So that should be a fun one over there in the AFC North.
Damn, my computer froze again. What was that matchup at AFC North?
Ravens and Bengals.
Ravens, yeah. You'll get to see that game if you're in Chicago. It will be airing opposite the Bears game on CBS. The Bengals got back on track last week at Cincinnati. Joe Burrow, 7 touchdowns and an interception so far this year. We'll see that if he can have a similar performance, he's going to go up against a tougher defense than the Ravens. Baltimore, we saw what they did last Sunday night at home against Buffalo. Cincinnati needs this game more than Baltimore. It's at home, and as I said last week, and I'll say it again, Cincinnati needs to run the football to keep that Ravens defense honest.
Should be a fun matchup. I'll be watching that game now. I'll be watching this game on the computer screen. You got the Bills and the Texans. Should be a fun one, interdivisional game down there in Houston.
Yeah, the Stephon Diggs game, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I actually saw a clip of a few years ago. I think it was from a Thanksgiving Day game a few years ago, and you can tell that he and Josh Allen, I'm talking about Stephon Diggs, are still very close. So this is definitely going to be emotional for him, especially since they get to come down there and to his new team in Houston. So I think if you're Buffalo, you want to kind of get back on track. So it should be a fun one between those two. But yeah, it's really going to depend on which defenses can make the big plays.
And also, too, it's going to come down to running the football as well. James Cook is having a good year for the Buffalo Bills. The Bills got away from running football last week because they were trailing behind. big time for most of the game. The Texans will run their star running back Joe Mixon play. Of course, you have Cam Akers as the backup. If Mixon doesn't go, Cam Akers will step in. He didn't have a good game last week, so if Mixon goes out again, Cam Akers is expected to step up and have a big game.
Should be a fun one. Even though the Jaguars are over right now, of course, this is our base Real Deals will have this game for CBS. And the Colts now, of course, Flacco's going to play once again. Like he's going to get the start from Anthony Richardson again, and the Jags. I mean, this is going to be the Bears' next opponent, so it'll be going to be very interesting over there to see like how the Jaguars respond, because there's a lot of turmoil down there in Central Florida.
Yeah, breaking news regarding this game on the injury front. Jonathan Taylor, the star running back for the Colts, he will not play. So once again, Jonathan Taylor will not play. If you have him on your fantasy lineup, take him out. The Jaguars you mentioned, Doug Peterson's job is in jeopardy if you believe some of the reports. On the flip side for the Colts, they had a nice win last week. You mentioned courtesy of Joe Flacco after the Anthony Richardson injury. Colts will have a bigger challenge running the football. The Jaguars, they're a much desperate team. They're at home. You think they'll play a whole lot better. We'll see what gives here.
Gonna be interesting. All right. Browns and Commanders. The 3:00. First, the 3:00 window. Of course, CBS has a doubleheader. But this game I'm talking about is gonna be on Fox. The Raiders and the Broncos in the AFC West. And it's gonna be interesting to kind of. I don't think no one thought the Broncos would be 2-2 this time. I don't think anybody had that. So. Especially with the stuff about Devontae Adams, whether or not he's gonna be traded within the next week or two. Broncos, we'll see. They can kind of get going. If Bodix doesn't make any big mistakes. So it should be an interesting game over there at Mile High City.
We know these two teams don't like each other. The Raiders actually done okay in Denver over the last 4 or 5 years. The Broncos, I know everybody's patting them on the back, but this could be a letdown game for them. And this is going to be a physical game. I think it's going to come down to running the football for these two teams.
Going to be really interesting. And I guess, probably one of the games, I guess, because CBS will be the game of the week here. You got the Packers and the Rams. And I'm thinking the Rams, I know they left a lot of points. I know they're going to be kicking themselves because they left a lot of points on the board against the Bears last week. The Packers, they had a tough loss there. You got to think, Jordan Love. I feel like he's starting to kind of get his rhythm back after missing a few weeks. So what do you think about this game?
Let's see if Jordan Love can be more consistent. I know he's trying to get his feet back at the return to the lineup last week. On the flip side for the Rams, can they muster up any defense to slow down Jordan Love in the running game? Don't forget, Josh Jacobs can run the rock now for the Green Bay Packers. So we'll see what happens there. The Rams, like you said, they lost a tough run in Chicago last week. I think it's going to be a surprisingly close game. I think it's going to come down to who's going to get that big turnover. And that Packers defense is not as bad as it was a year ago.
No.
They're actually much better than they were a year ago.
Yeah, they're young, but they're very good. So we'll see what happens with that. Cowboys and Steelers. Steelers revenge from all this. The Cowboys got the last time they won. They played each other in the Super Bowl, but should be an interesting one here. Of course, you get all the injuries for the Cowboys and Steelers. What do you think? I mean, this is one of those games that go either way.
Yeah, can the Pittsburgh Steelers find a consistent running game? You can say that ask the same question of the Cowboys. We know it's not Ezekiel Elliott, but they just got to find somebody who can run the rock. Dak Prescott is having a good year so far, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But on the flip side for Justin Fields, he's actually done a great job. And people are wondering when will Russell Wilson return to the lineup? If you're Mike Tomlin, you don't care. As long as Justin Fields plays well and keeps winning, I can give less than a damn about Russell Wilson. I'm sorry. Sorry, but not sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it will be interesting to see, if he can kind of keep up the consistency. Talk about Fields. So, yeah, I mean, look, I guess you play him until he becomes bad. So we'll see what happens in that game. Now, we'll talk more about this after the break. As our girl Christine Manika from KXRB is on deck. We'll bring her on after the break. But Saints and Chiefs. I mean, Rashid Rice. They're gonna find out as soon as he has surgery the extent of that knee injury. So we'll see how long he's gonna be out. But do you think they have a shot on top of the Saints against the Chiefs?
Oh, they do have a shot. Their defense is not as bad as it was last year, and they have Alvin Kamara. They do have a shot.
Well, hold that thought, because we're gonna talk more about this with our girl Christine Mack from KXRB and so much more as we catch up with her. After she's been an attorney since we had her on. It's only been like a few weeks, but but we'll talk with her about that. Of course, about D Rose, Bears, Bulls, WNBA,
The new network too.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, CHSN. Yeah. Do you guys have CHSN? Let us know in the comments if you're one of the few people that actually has it so far. We'll have all that and more coming.
Without rabbit ears.
Well, the antennas. The KDBG City Borough Second City Sports, Sports of Chicago. More fun coming up right after this.
This year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school.
These colorful binders help me stay organized.
These headphones are just what I need for studying.
These new sneakers are just what I need for the new year.
This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the skateboard I wanted. It's pretty cool.
These scissors really come in handy in art class.
These colored pencils too.
These new socks, they can be a real lifesaver.
I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, but one of these days a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things. None of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you, your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. A public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Hey, this is Dr. J, and I listen to Sean and Maya in the morning.
Welcome back to Second City Sports, the hashtag Football Friday edition. We're live in 11 color right here on Sports Zone Chicago. I'm Sid, that's Lakina. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter, X, and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, it's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You can follow my Keenan McGee on the Twitter, X, and again, the IG.
This is our last break of the show for today and for the week. You have any questions or comments for us as we go into our Week 5 NFL Picks segment in our grab bag segment with our girl, Miss Christine, the Queen Manika. You can hit us up at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or at Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in those questions or comments to the comment section in those predictions. Lakina will get them up on the screen for you.
Let's not waste any more time, Sid. Let's get her on. We haven't seen her in a few weeks. We got a lot to catch up with her on. So she is the one and only our girl, your girl, Miss Christine Mack from KXRB. Christine!
Yay!
Hey.
How
are
you?
you?
How are you?
You're doing great. How are you?
I know. It's been a long time. I'm doing good.
Good. So let me get our picks up here. Like I said, we'll do the picks first as we usually do. Of course, we'll get all the catching up, all the cool stuff. All right. So I had 10, my best week so far. Christine, you had 9. Sid, you had 10. Christine, you're still up a game though on Sid.
What is that, Sid? I'm up a game? I'm winning? Is that what she said?
Yes. I triple checked. Yes, you are up
I'm
a game.
winning? As Charlie Sheen would say, I'm winning?
Yes, you are. You are winning. You are winning. Yes. I love it. All right. We'll see if we can go get it back going here. We actually had some of our best week in a while. So because we never go last couple of weeks hasn't been very good for any of us. But let's get right to it and talk some our NFL Week 5 pick'ems. Of course, first stop in Merrill, London, England for the first London Series games. The Jets and the Vikings. Christine, you start this for us.
I've been loving how the Vikings have been looking. I think they are one of the least unexpected teams to be doing so well right now after so many questions about the quarterback situation and then getting Justin Jefferson to sign last minute. It looks like they're having a pretty gosh darn good season, in my opinion. And the Jets, I still think they're trying to find their footing still, especially with Aaron Rodgers finally starting to have a full season again after his 2-play injury took him out early in his debut with the Jets. So I like the Vikings right now in their London game coming up here on Sunday. And I really do like how they're looking. They're a big threat, not just to the NFC, but to the whole NFL right now in general.
The Vikings are 2.5-point favorite, even though the game is in London. It's technically a home game for Minnesota. We talked about the Jets looking in our last segment. I got to see a little bit more consistency because it's some more consistency from that Jets offense because they played like crap last week against Denver. I know Chris is happy, Christine, but Minnesota's a better team. I know weird things happen in London. Just ask the Bears in 2019 against the Raiders, but that's a whole nother show. But the Vikings are a better team here, and I think they'll pull out the win.
Yeah, you know that Brian Flores will have his defense blitzing Aaron Rodgers like crazy. So I think the time difference might be a little bit of a buzz. We see weird things happen in the London games, like you said. So I think Minnesota, they're kind of on a roll, on a groove right now. Sam Darnold, I think you gotta think if it were for Pat Mahomes, Pat Mahomes is having the best. So you gotta think he's probably one of the leaders in the clubhouse for MVP. I know it's like super early, but really according through the season, we gotta think he's kind of right there, and then the discussions. But we'll see if we can keep it up. But it should be a fun one over there in London.
Real quick, Lakina, is it true? I thought I've heard that the Jets didn't check in into London until yesterday. If that's the case, if it's true, that is very weird.
Yeah,
that's late.
No, go ahead, Christine. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that's late.
That is. I think Minnesota's been there since Tuesday. I think they've been in London. So I don't know what was the mindset there, but I guess
I will say some of the team was probably there in London on Tuesday. Justin Jefferson was actually at the Minnesota Lynx game earlier in the week.
Oh yeah.
So not everyone probably was in London.
Well, and I guess with the distance, because New York and London, there's only like a 6 hour flight.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 9 or 10 hours in Minnesota. I'm sure they probably had to make a connection to Chicago, I guess, so or Detroit or something like that. So it might be odd, but maybe that's sort of a thing, I guess. Who knows? We'll see how the Bears do, because they got to do the London trip too next week. So we'll see how they do. Should be a good one here in the AFC North. We talked about this game earlier, Sid. The Ravens and the Bengals. You start this one.
Baltimore's favored by 2.5. I know Christine's guy Joe Money got back on track at Carolina last week. Baltimore got back on track as well as they blow out the Buffalo Bills. Baltimore's the play here. they're the better team, and hopefully we don't watch their offense uh, look like you want to pull teeth. Their offense actually exploded last week. I expect, even though it's a division game, I expect the Baltimore offense to roll here. So I'm going with Baltimore.
I'm going with Baltimore with
Christine?
this one too, because it's just been an interesting start so far for Joe Burrow. I think he's still trying to bounce back from his injury late last season, and there could be a little bit of some off the field drama, so to speak, from Jamar Chase, just because they were trying to sign him for the longest period of time. So I still think they're trying to get a rhythm back going here. But the Ravens look great against the Bills. I feel horrible for my poor Josh Allen that he kind of got smoked against them, but that's a tough field to play against in general. And the Bengals home field, that's tough too. But I think the Ravens this is going to be a good win for them. I think it's going to be tough, but it should go to the Ravens.
Yeah, these two have always played, especially in recent years, they've always played tough and so very physical. I feel like we're going to it's going to be the same case here. But I think Baltimore, I think they're finding their rhythm, they're finding their groove on both defense and offense. I think Derrick Henry could play a big factor here. I think they're finally realizing that, hey, how to actually use him. It took them a few weeks, but they finally have learned how to use him. So we'll see. I think he could be the key to get the win for him. I think it'll stay close, but I think Baltimore pulls away late. Now, another good one here. I'll be watching this game via this computer screen probably on Red Zone, more likely as well. You got the Bills and the Texans all start this one. I know the Bills, I know they're smarting from their loss to Buffalo. Hopefully, Josh Allen isn't too sore from that game. The Texans got back on track last week. Like I said, I mean, the Stephon Diggs game, as you say, Sid, of course, is going to be facing his former team. So I would say, hopefully, it's like Tank Dell, it's going to be a little bit banged up. I think Nico Collins is going to be a big factor here. Joe Mixon, I think it's going to be questionable, but I think it's a pick 'em. Gosh, I mean, I'm back and forth on this. I guess since they're at home, I'll pick Houston, but again, if Buffalo wins, I won't be shocked.
I'm with the Bills for this one, just because I think CJ Stroud is in his sophomore slump, so to speak. And so far, yes, this is the Stephon Diggs game where he is facing against his former team. But in my opinion, I don't know, maybe you guys are seeing something differently. He still hasn't really made a bigger impact on the Texans. They're still kind of stagnant right now. They haven't been as explosive as they were last season. So this is a good get-right game, I think, for the Bills.
The Texans barely survived their scare last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I think that scare is going to continue. It's going to go downward. And we talked about in our last segment, Lakina, Joe Mixon has been out the last couple of weeks, and he's just really struggled running the football. Even if they do get Joe Mixon back, it's still going to take them time to establish that running game. So, as you mentioned, Houston's a 1-point favorite, but I'm going the other way. I'm going with Buffalo. And I'm going with the Colin Cowherd rule. If you get embarrassed on national television the previous week, the next week you bounce back with a big performance. So I'm going with Buffalo here.
Should be an entertaining game. Whatever happens now, like I said, our buddy Spiro Diaz will have the call of this game down in Jacksonville. The Colts and the Jags in the AFC South matchup. Christine.
The Jaguars, it's just not doing it for me. I think the Colts are looking better than what they did last year. I think having Anthony Richardson at the helm and really showing Colts fans what he can do, that helps. I know they have an injury, a pretty significant one too, where he's going to be out for this game, it looks like. But it could be a good road win for them and something to boost the energy up for them for sure. So I don't think the Jaguars so far it's not looking like a good year for Trevor Lawrence. So I'm going with the Colts for this.
Sid?
We talked about the injury to Jonathan Taylor for the Colts, so he's going to be out for this game. Joe Flacco will get the start at QB for the Colts. But the Jaguars are a desperate team at home. Of course, they'll be taking on the Bears next week in London. If you're the Bears, first of all, you got to worry about your business against the Panthers. But number two, you don't want to face a winless Jaguars team going to London next week. So I think the Jaguars will get off the schneid and get the win at home. Jacksonville's favored by 3 points.
I forgot it was Joe Flacco starting. My fault. So I'm all Team Joe there. I completely forgot.
You forgot about it. So you want to change your pick or no?
No, my pick is the Colts. I never went against it. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm picking the Colts as well. I mean, I don't know what's going down there in Jacksonville. Maybe get our buddy from the Locked On Jags podcast next week to talk about this. I'm sure he may have, he has his
Friend of the show. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so maybe we can get him on for next Friday. But I mean, Indy, look, Flacco has kind of kept everything, kind of like, on the straight and narrow. He's been, really solid. Yeah, without Taylor, that's going to be a big problem there for that rushing attack. But if the defense can kind of get Trevor Lawrence, rattle him a little bit, there's a lot going on there. I'm picking the Colts just because I just don't trust the Jags. I'm learning that I haven't trusted them like 2 or 3 years. So I'm kind of sold out on the Jags at this point. But we'll see. It should be a good one down there in Jacksonville. The battle of the 1-3s. So you can start this one. The Dolphins and the Patriots.
No breakdown for me on this one. I'm going with the Patriots just because they're at home. The Patriots are favored by 1 at home, which means Vegas has this game at a pick'em.
Yeah, this is a trash bag type of game. I'm going with the Patriots too, just because it's at home.
Same here. Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is definitely the trash game of the week here. But yeah. Excuse me, Pats. Yeah, that's how I felt just now. You got Pats. Patriots, the Dolphins. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on down there in South Beach, but could Tyreek Hill be on the move? Well, that's something to talk about that in the next few weeks. Okay, should be somewhat entertaining. The Commanders as they host the Browns. I'll start this one. I think the Commanders, they're 3-1. They've been very impressive the last couple of weeks. Jaden Daniels has looked really good. Their defense, again, some not well-known names, but they've been very good. The Browns, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on there. So
I do.
Right. So yeah, I'm picking Washington.
Even if the Commanders were terrible, I'd still pick them just because they're playing the Browns. Like, it worked for me when they played the Giants and they got the win over the Browns then. So I'm picking the Commanders. Jaden Daniels looks great. I know a lot of them are calling him for Rookie of the Year right now. So it's early on, but we'll see what happens. But he is looking really good right now. So the Commanders for me.
Yeah, Cleveland had a chance to still run in Vegas last week, but that didn't happen. If you listen to this program last week, I picked the Raiders, and your boy was right. And now we're all going to be correct again. I'm going with Washington. They'll improve their record to 4-1. They're currently 3.5 at home, point favorites at home.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not higher, but maybe Vegas knows something. First of the 3:00 games, you got the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Broncos. Christine, you start this one.
I like Gardner Minshew still. I mean, I know they have a lot going on right now with Devontae Adams saying that it's a hamstring injury when it's not a hamstring injury. He's eventually going to be off the team, whether it's this week, next week, whatever. But I don't think it really makes a difference at this point. Right now, I think the Raiders are the stronger team than the Broncos because they're still trying to find themselves with Chris is shaking his head at me right now. They're trying to find themselves with a rookie quarterback, still a lot of new legs on the team. So I think for this one, I'm going with the Raiders. I put a question mark by it too. Yeah, he's not very happy with me right now over there.
I'm sure he's not. I'll pick Denver. I think, look, all the, I think Bo Nix, if he can kind of, keep doing what he's been doing, the defense has actually been pretty good this last couple of games. You saw what they did against the Jets. I mean, I know some of that was self-inflicted on the Jets part, but hey, look, they took advantage of it. So I'm on the Bo Nix train. So yeah, I'm picking Denver.
I'm gonna make your husband happy, Christine. I'm going with the Broncos as well. 2-0 on the East Coast the last 2 weeks. They made Aaron Rodgers and Baker Mayfield look like little league flag football quarterbacks. They are playing the Raiders, even though I mentioned in our last segment that the Raiders have done decent in Denver over the last 5-6 years.
Mhm.
But Sean Payton has something going on with Bo Nix. I don't know what it is. In their defense, even though they're not world beaters, they do enough to get the job done. At least they have been these last 2 games. So Denver's a 2.5-point favorite at home at Mile High. I'm going with the Broncos as well.
Should be thoroughly entertaining. If those of you who wonder where Tom Brady is going to be this week, he'll be at the Bay Area. I think one of his sisters don't live too far from where the 49ers play.
Yeah.
As they host the Cardinals. I know the Cardinals are one of those teams where you thought that maybe they would make a move. They haven't done that. San Fran, you thought that, it seems like, they're starting to kind of get it going again. So I'm picking the 49ers. I'm picking San Fran.
I'm picking the 49ers too. I still believe in Brock Purdy. I still think the 49ers are one of the best teams in the NFC. With or without Christian McCaffrey, with or without all the injuries, they could still find a way to get it done. And I think that's thanks to not just Brock Purdy, but also Kyle Shanahan too at the helm.
I'm done picking the Cardinals for the rest of the season. I'm done picking them. I'm done.
It's only week 5, Sid.
I'm done picking the Cardinals. They got to start showing me something, the opposite. But San Francisco's favored by 7.5 points at home. Jordan Mason is running the ball very well for the 49ers right now, replacing Christian McCaffrey, as Christine just mentioned. Jordan Mason, 447 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. Juwan Jennings, their stud wide receiver, 21 catches, 365 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think the 49ers will do enough just to keep that offensive train rolling. I'm going with San Francisco.
Should be interesting. The game of the week on CBS. You've got the Packers and the Rams. Speaking of the aforementioned Rams, Sid, you start this one.
The last time this game was on CBS, looking back when we were kids back in the late 80s, early 90s. So this would be Don Mikowski versus Jim Everett.
Oh, God. Well, and look, here's the thing. We probably wouldn't be watching this game either because of the good old blackout rules. So we wouldn't be watching this game.
If this was back in the day, yeah, we wouldn't be watching this. You're right. But this will be airing live here in Chicago in 2024. So those blackout rules were home team / blackout rules. That was a mess, but that's a whole nother show. But
thank you, Roger
for this game, we talked about it.
That rule.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. The Rams lost the close one here in Chicago last week to our Bears. The Packers, even though Jordan Love did return to the lineup, they came up short in their comeback attempt against the Minnesota Vikings. I have Jordan Love on my fantasy team. I know that's besides the point, but even though as a Bears fan, I sure as hell want the Rams to win, the Packers are to play here. They are 3-point favorites on the road. Jordan Love is going to step up and have a good game. Their running game for the Packers is just too strong. Unfortunately, Green Bay is going to win this one.
Yeah, I picked the Green Bay Packers for this one too. Stafford surprisingly got smacked around by the Bears a little bit. I didn't see that one coming because he usually, whether he was in a Lions uniform or a Rams jersey, he usually performs pretty well against the Bears. So it was kind of surprising to see him get knocked down a little bit. So I do think the Packers are the better team in this scenario, just because Jordan Love looks great. He looks healthy. After Malik Willis had to kind of take over a little bit, Christian Watson looks good. And, I think, again, the Packers are somehow pulling it out. So I'm going to stick with the Packers here.
Yeah, I think keep it short and sweet. I think the Packers too. I think it took a little bit for Jordan Love to get back into a rhythm. So I think he will get a rhythm against that. We don't have to worry about Aaron Donald chasing you around. You're fine whenever you have to play the Rams. So I like his chances and the Packers' chance. I think the defense will be the key here on the Packers side as well against Stafford in that offense. Again, no Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua. So I'm picking Green Bay. The Giants and the Seahawks. I know this is for I know they had a tough loss against Detroit on Monday. Now talking about Seattle, and I think for me this is a good get right game for them. They get to play at home, so I know it's a short week, but they get to play at home, so that helps a lot. The Giants, Malik Neighbors, he's going to be out with a concussion, so I would have taken the under if the Giants if he was going to be out there. He's not, so I think Seattle's going to be a good get right game for them. I'm picking the Seahawks.
I'm keeping it short and sweet and picking the Seahawks too because they're at home and it's a good get right game for them.
I need DK Metcalf to have a good game for me for my fantasy team. But with that being said, Seattle's to play here. They're 7-point favorites at home. I'm going with the Seahawks big.
Yeah, but angry Seahawks. I guess you don't want to face angry Seahawks.
Angry Seahawks.
Revenge, I guess, for the various Super Bowls these two have played each other on for Sunday night. You've got the Cowboys and the Steelers. Christine.
I still like the Cowboys for this game. I know it's tough to play in Pittsburgh with those what is it? Towels of shame is what I call it,
Terrible
but they're the terrible towels.
Terrible towels.
Towels of shame, though. I like that too. I know it's tough to play in front of that crowd. I know Mike Tomlin's a great coach. Fields is somehow still being Justin Fields, but yet everyone's treating him like he's the next MVP, which is mind-boggling to me because it's not like he's doing anything different. It's just he's on a different team. That's what it is. But I still think, with Dak, with CD, with Micah Parsons, all those guys on the Cowboys, I still think this is gonna be a battle, that's for sure. But it's a good road game for them to have, and it's a good test too. I think these teams are both pretty evenly matched. So I won't be surprised if it goes into overtime this game. But I'm picking the Cowboys for this road win because it would be a nice win for them for sure.
The Cowboys have struggled on the road, especially against the AFC opponents over the last 3 or 4 years. It's going to be a physical game. I think that trend is going to continue downwards for the Cowboys. The Steelers always find a way to play well at home, especially in prime time. The Steelers are to play here. They're 2.5-point favorites. I'm going with Pittsburgh by field goal.
Yeah, I think the short and sweet. I think Pittsburgh. I think TJ Waddle definitely has something to say about, and that defense going to have something to say about this game. So I'm sure he's probably going to be going after Dak Prescott. Although I think it won't be close, but I think the Steelers are just enough to pull away here Monday night.
I still like my towel of shame. That's a good one. Towel of shame.
You should trademark that.
I know.
Yeah, she got Joe Money now, the towel of shame.
Towel of shame.
There you go. There you go. You got to write these down, Christine. Monday night, of course, you got the return of the Manning cast with Bill Belichick and the Manning brothers. So it'll be on ESPN2. Last
Yay.
Yeah. So the Saints and the Chiefs. Sid, you start this one.
I think the Saints, because of their running game and the Chiefs' lack of running game, this game is going to be close. But just because they're at Arrowhead, I think the Chiefs are going to pull this one out. Even though this is not an official pick, I would take the Saints in the points, but the Chiefs are favored by 5.5. I'm going with Kansas City in a close one.
That's a big point system by Vegas there. 5.5, consider all those injuries. That's what I'm basing my pick on because I remember last season, this was kind of the point where Kansas City was in a little bit of a slump where they were losing pretty much a lot of games that fans thought that they were going to win. Yes, it is a home game, but I think the injuries, they're not helping the team in any way. Now, the Saints, I love it. They're frisky and fun. I think that was a category for them a couple of weeks ago. They're frisky. They're fun. I like how Derek Carr looks. I think he meshes well with that team. And I just think, I don't know, maybe since I haven't been on it a couple of weeks, it doesn't help that for whatever reason, Mahomes is not throwing the ball to Travis Kelce. And when you've been used to guys like Pacheco and Rice, and now all of a sudden they're not there, and you're going back to your guy that you always used to throw the ball to, that could be a little bit of an adjustment, considering it's seeming like you've been avoiding your go-to guy for the last 5 weeks now. So I don't know how that's going to go mentally, both on and off the field, and how they're going to make those adjustments. But I think just because the Saints are a little bit more of a coordinated team and they just, again, they're frisky and fun, I'm going to go with the Saints.
I think the Saints will cover, but I think KC will win. I think they'll do just enough to win that game. And But because it's going to stay close, because of the defense for the Chiefs, Chris Jones has been really good especially the last couple of weeks. But you gotta think the let's going to run out for Kansas City. It just has to. So we'll see if it the weather should be good too, so they won't have to worry about that. So we'll see what happens in that game. Now, last but not least, the beloved Panthers and Bears. I'll start. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm picking Chicago. I'm picking the Bears. It's all about setting the tone. They got to set the tone early, score early points, put the Panthers away. They do that, they win. If they don't, I can't help you. So I'll pick the Bears. Again, same caveat the last 2 weeks. I mean, if you let these lesser teams hang around, they may think they have a shot at winning. So I'll pick the Bears.
There's a lot of great things I'm seeing out of Caleb, out of Rome, out of Cole Kmet, out of all the guys, really, out of Mooney. It's been fun just to see all these guys working together as a team. Now, the coaching, is that the greatest right now? No, but I think the players are making up for that. And it just goes to show that there is something different about this group of guys with having Caleb Williams at the helm as opposed to Justin Fields. There are a lot of different throws, movements, reading the field, reading the defense that Caleb Williams just does better than what Justin Fields did. Now, this game is going to be interesting because now you got Andy Dolan coming back. Even though the Bears is not his mainstay, that's not the team that he's known for, he is coming back to a team that he did once used to play for. So that's going to be interesting in itself now that the Panthers got their own rhythm going. I am going to give the win to the Bears just because it looks like Caleb has a little bit of a flow going. Now, are there going to be mistakes? Absolutely. He's a rookie. I've never said I expect this kid to be perfect because that's what the rookie year is for. And what your first couple of years are for in general is just to make those adjustments. But from what I'm seeing so far, he's looking pretty gosh darn good. Sid, you're giving me the bug eyes there. Why are you giving me the
No, I was
bug
wiping my
eyes?
eyes. No. No, as I said in our last segment, the Bears got to get out to a better start in terms of putting up points on the board. And this is a perfect opportunity for them to do that here. They got to put up between 24 and 28 points here against this Carolina team. And like Lakina said, put these guys away early and let that defense hunt. So the Bears are the play here. They're 4-point favorites on the road. I'm going with Chicago.
All right, and those are your picks for NFL Week 5. You listen to Second City Sports on Sports Social Chicago. Lakina McGee, Cindy Brown, our girl KXRB, Christine Manika is back with us. So going back to some of the other sports real quick before we disperse. Baseball, Christy, who do you have perhaps maybe going to the World Series?
I'm sad that the Brewers didn't make it. They looked really good this season, so I was really looking forward to rooting for them because I got some family in Wisconsin, so I know they were kind of disappointed when the Brewers ended up losing last minute. I like the Phillies making it to the end. I'm happy that Detroit somehow kicked Houston out of its butt out of nowhere. And I like the Padres too, mainly because Dylan Cease, after his time with the White Sox, it would be great to see that guy get a ring, especially after the year that he had last year and even this year too with the Padres.
All right, so who's your National League representative and who's your American League representative in this year's World Series?
Padres. Is that the National League?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Padres. And then American League Phillies?
Okay.
Well, they in the same.
Oh, they're in the same league.
They're the same league.
Yeah. Oh, whoops. Hold on. Who's in the other? Help me out. I like having sheets in front of me.
Well, you got Cleveland, Detroit, the Yankees, and Kansas City in the American League.
Thank you. Yankees.
Yankees. Okay, so she got
the
rematch of the '98 World Series.
Yes, that should be. Yes. So, well, if you're San Diego, you probably would have a better result than that one that year.
Right.
All right. What about the WNBA playoffs? Game 3s, I believe, are tonight. So, what do you think?
Who is it? Is it I'm losing track.
The Aces, yeah, the Aces and the Liberty. Liberty are up 2-0 in their game, and we got the Lakes and the Sun, the Minnesota Lakes and the Connecticut Sun. They're tied at 1.
I like the Connecticut Sun, and then I gotta go with the the Aces for Becky Hammond, South Dakota native. Gotta cheer her on and hopefully get another championship under her belt.
Well, they gotta win. Yeah, they gotta win their next 3. So hopefully they can. We'll see if they can catch up. Both those games will be on tonight on ESPN2, a doubleheader.
All right, you're listening to Second City Sports Zone Chicago City. Lakina hanging out here with you. We still have a couple of minutes left with our homegirl, Miss Christine the Cream Manika from KXRB in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Real quick, Christine, Derrick Rose announces his retirement.
Yeah.
The Bulls are going to honor him on January 4th when the Bulls play the Knicks at the United Center. Give us your thoughts on the career of the Derrick Rose experience, the young kid from Chicago.
Oh, yeah. I grew up watching Derrick Rose. And, actually, the first time I actually saw him play at the United Center, it was towards the end of his time with the Bulls, with Joe King still on the Bulls as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it was towards his down time, after, 2 knee injuries and whatever else he had going on. But nonetheless, an amazing player, an amazing career. Kind of saw it coming once he, requested his waivers and wanted to be. I thought he was going to get traded somewhere else and he wanted to go somewhere else. But no, he just wanted to be done and retire. So it's a great career. Chicago's own, Chicago's finest, and you can't say it any better than that. He did the city proud.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we go into the off season for both the Cubs and the White Sox, Jed Hoyer, of course, the VP of President of Baseball Operations for the Cubs, had somewhat encouraging presser. I wish he would have said that maybe he's going to go after Juan Soto, but again, baby steps, I guess. The White Sox, if you saw that letter that Jerry.
Oh, yes, I did.
Oh, you did. A bunch of word salad. So, the White Sox side of it, what do you think? Well, what do you think they're going to do, if anything?
I think Jerry did a good job putting Chris Getz in his place by saying that they will go after free agents instead of saying, now we're not even going to look at free agents. So that's a good way of shutting that theory down really quick. But it's the same stuff that we hear a lot every year, saying we have a great farm system. Our pitching system is great. We can't wait to show off these prospects, blah, blah, blah. It's the same stuff every single year. And yes, it's a lot of word salad, what you were saying. I would love to see results. I would love to see these prospects. I would love to see what the future of the White Sox does look like. So it's at this point, it's just words. And until something happens, then that's all it is right now. It is good to hear, though, that your farm system is getting all these championships. Where are the White Sox's rings?
I think it's just in the White Sox talk right there, Lakina. Christine just said it all.
Mic drop with that. Real quick, I know we're up against it, but yeah, the new CHSN network launched officially this week. And unless you have rabbit ears, excuse me, you won't be able to get. I think DirecTV is the only major carrier that has signed a deal with us so far. What do you think, Christine? I mean, it's kind of interesting that now you got this new network, and most folks don't have it yet, unfortunately.
That's to be expected, though, with a new network. I think as time goes on, whether it's this year or next year, especially when basketball picks back up, hockey picks back up again, even though it's already picking back up now, I think more networks are going to pick up on it. I know that Chuck signed a contract with the new network, so we can expect to see him during the White Sox games. I don't know the status about Ozzy, if they signed him up on the contract, or Scotty Pods, or what that is.
I think he's going over there too.
Is he going over there too? Yeah, because I know that Chuck
he
made
was in one of their commercials promoting the new network.
Okay, yeah, because I know that Chuck was one of the first people that said on Twitter that he did sign a contract with them. So it's encouraging that they kept pretty much all the same people. It's just under a different network. So I think it's great that it's a local channel, that it's something not necessarily under a big network umbrella. It's more localized in a way. So I think that's a good thing. But like I said, it's just going to take time for other stations like a WGN, ABC, whatever it is, to get it under everyone's roof.
Here's the thing, Lakina. I don't know if you guys saw my tweet the other day. I had to pull out the old 15-year-old rabbit, digital TV rabbit ears to get the channel because I have Xfinity/Comcast cable. It's not available yet. But I did get a chance to watch a couple of their shows, the Pro Football Show with Ruthie Polinsky, David Hall, Eric Kramer, and Clay Harbor. That's going to be a good show. That's a daily football show for that network. And I saw Cam Smith and Brooke Fletcher and David Hall again for their Chicago sports show. That's going to be airing daily. And that they from the first episode I saw, it was really good. But the Adam Amin, the Bulls TV voice, I should say, he hosted the first show called Game On Now. I sent you guys the link of that program that aired on Tuesday. He's a very, very good host. So if that play-by-play thing doesn't work, he's a very good TV host. So
yeah, he does.
He can pick up a couple of extra gigs just being a host himself.
Yeah, he really can. And again, I know we talked about this before we went on, but yeah, Tableau TV, I guess it's kind of like a Fire Stick, I guess, sort of from Amazon. I guess it's like from $90 to like $120 if you want access to it. It's on. I thought I saw CHSN on there and a few other channels of some of the more popular channels as well. It's basically a la carte cable or streaming a la carte as we've seen in the last few years. I'm sure they'll figure it out before the end of the month. Let's hope, at least. So, and I'm sure they'll have more content on as the year goes, because I think they want to perhaps maybe build that audience. So that you're going to need that, especially if you want. You know, the Blackhawks. I'm glad they're going to have some Bears content too and NFL content. So I think they know that that's what's going to sell the network. So we'll see. It should be interesting. But yeah, I'll give it to the end of the month before I get really miffed it's not on YouTube TV.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be on Comcast/Xfinity by this time next week. Hopefully, because I want to put these dusty ass rabbit ears away.
I know, I'm sure it's collecting dust right now.
Yes, it is.
Oh goodness. All right. So anything else before we disperse, kids? Bueller?
Okay,
Anybody?
Christine says no. I say no.
All right. We'll wrap it up. You can follow my Keenan McKee on the Twitter, X and Kids on the IG.
You can follow yours truly, Sydney Brown, on the Twitter, X, and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, it's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. SIDKID80. Be sure to download that Sports Zone Chicago app wherever you get your apps. Please follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms. You can find us on War Media Podcasts. That's WARR Media, PODCASTS. We are located on all podcast platforms, including the iHeartRadio app. And while you're at it, give War Media a follow at WARR Media on all social media platforms. And thank you very much in advance for your support.
Like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends.
Be sure to catch Second City Sports live in living color every Monday, every Friday from noon to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on Sports Zone Chicago. One more again, as the kids would say. Be sure to catch Second City Sports live in living color every Monday, every Friday from noon to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on Sports Zone Chicago. And I apologize to you, Christine, before I forget, where can the lovely people catch you on social media?
They can find me on Twitter at @Manika_KXRB.
I know it's been so long, i.e. a month, but you still have that bird with you?
No, I told you I accidentally updated.
Yeah, let's say the bird's gone now, unfortunately.
We got to get you a new logo or a new symbol, animal or something.
What are you going to do, right?
Right?
Yeah, those
that damn Elon Musk.
Yeah, those darn updates, I tell you. All right, so and of course, we're working on the feed to fix over at Roku TV. So hopefully we'll get that fixed up in a little while. I know it's kind of been on the fritz the last few weeks. So hopefully once we get it going, we'll let you guys know. But of course, you can catch Sports Chicago anytime, anywhere on Roku TV, and we'll let you guys know once we're back up and running on there. So enjoy all the great sports. Of course, we're in October now. You've got preseason. Basketball is about to start, so that should be fun. Of course, you got hockey going on preseason right now. Of course, you got baseball, the playoffs, WNBA playoffs, NFL, of course, and so much more. I love this time of year. You got sports galore all the rest of the year, so it's gonna be fun. And also, too, they had Big Ten Media Day down there in Indianapolis on the hoop side. So college hoops is gonna be starting in about a month. So love this time of year, but we're gonna be here to talk about it every Monday and Friday right here on Sports of Chicago for Sid and Christine on the Kansas Second City Sports on Sports of Chicago. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you guys next week.
Go Bears! Holla!
Oh.